Okay, so refresh that live stream. YouTube channel should be up. Let me know if it isn't. After about like 30 seconds, it should definitely be up. All right, so we're gonna make a lightsaber in Unreal. This is just kind of our bonus lesson. We did all the hard modeling stuff. This is nowhere near as hard as our animation blueprints. This is like an easy, relaxing, kind of fun lesson because it involves making models, model creation, without all the math and stupid, unintuitive, Blender-esque, you know, things that come with traditional modeling software. Is Unreal Engine a modeling software? No. Okay, if you want to make character models, you don't make them in Unreal, you make them in a Maya or a Max or a Blender or what have you. But can you get away with a lot of prop modeling, environmental modeling in Unreal? Heck yes. And I found that it's much faster if you're working on a game to just get your models done here. And it's even better because you're not, demorphing primitive geometry and stuff. You're just combining assets and setting them as a new piece of geometry. It's a great way, kind of a street way to set up stuff. So what I'm going to do is, and what you're going to do is let's do the material first, and then we'll do the model. Okay, so the material is a lightsaber material, right? Lightsaber's got glow. It's going to be like a glowing color. So let's make that now. Everybody click Add New, lower left, choose Material, and name it M_lightsaber. And then open it up. Open up that material by double-clicking on it. You get the material editor. I think we've covered this a little bit before. If not, this is where you edit all of the graphics of something. We need a couple things here. We need to set the color of our lightsaber, and we need to set the glowiness of our lightsaber, called emissive. So first thing you want to do is you want to look up a color. So here we're on our material. To look up a color, it's called a vector. It's a word for a color. Right-click and type in vector. And choose vector parameter. So what you're going to do is you're going to connect the top white circle on the vector parameter into base color, because base color determines what color our material is going to be. And in the details panel here, clicking on that, you can set the default value to whatever you want. I'm going to do a red lightsaber. But you can do a blue, green, Mace Windu purple, whatever you want. I'm going to try and go for like a red Darth Vader lightsaber. When you set the color, make sure you raise the brightness part on that color. You can also hit apply in the upper left to make it go faster. So you have a color, but the color doesn't look very lightsabery. Lightsabers glow, they emit light. So we need to plug in something to emissive. So on this main thing here, it says emissive color. What we want to do is want a really powerful emissive, so it glows beyond the model that we're going to put this on, so it emits light onto surfaces around it. But we also want to make sure that whatever that color is, the color or base color, that is also what's being emitted. So we wouldn't just want to put a big number into emissive color, because then it would just glow white really, really bright. Instead, what we want to do is we want to put in red times a big number going, and then that goes into emissive, because that's the way that we combine things. So we want red times a big number. And by times, I mean literally multiply. So drag off of, or don't even have to drag, just right click and type in multiply. Choose the multiply node. Okay, click on the multiply node, and in the details panel of multiply, you'll see it says const A, const B in the lower left there. So A times B, that's what's happening. A, we're going to plug in that color. So why don't you plug in color into the multiply, the front of the multiply node where it says A. And for B, we can just type it in directly into the details panel. So with multiply selected, I'm going to set B to, let's try 150. It's going to be pretty, should be a good amount of brightness. So I'm setting that to 150. And then, of course, you want to plug the output, right? The result of these things being multiplied together into emissive color. Details panel on the left. So you got to click on the multiply. You're changing the details of multiply. There you go. So make sure you apply the result, right? The circle on the right side of that multiply into emissive color, and not bad. Personally, I make mine a little bit brighter. That's a little dark for me. I'm going to set mine to 250. I think with the reds, you need to go a little bit brighter. That's getting somewhere. I'll say that's good enough for now. So we have our lightsaber material. Let's jump over to the model. So go over to the front of Unreal. Here's that modeling I was talking about. It's deceptively easy, and there's no YouTube videos that talk about modeling in Unreal, and it's silly because it's just so much faster. Sometimes for certain use cases, to make a prop or an item or an environment piece that you need by combining existing props, environment pieces, etc., and saving them as new models, new what we call static meshes. Okay, in the front of Unreal now, we're out of our material. Drag a cylinder from the left panel, the modes panel, into the world. So drag a cylinder out and make that cylinder really tall and skinny. Okay, it's going to be the lightsaber blade. Now, by using the transform tools, you can only do so much. In getting it skinny, it's still going to be too thick. So what you're going to want to do is go into the details panel on the right and change the scale value, right? Go to the details, top list details, says location, rotation, scale. And you want to change the scale to be really, really low numbers. So this thing is really skinny. Except for Z, of course, because Z is how tall the thing is. One thing would be like a pole, basically, a really thin pole. And this is going to be what our lightsaber blade's going to be. Where it says scale X, I'm going to change that to 0.05 is a good one. And then for Y, same deal, 0.05. It's a good blade. As far as the height, Z, I would set that to maybe like 1.5. And then why don't we set the material of this to our lightsaber material? You do that in the details panel as well. Or you could drag the material onto the object in the scene. Yeah. So you want to go up to the top. All the scales. So 0.05, 0.05 would be for the first two, and then for Z, 1.5. Okay, for the hilt, what we hold the lightsaber for by, we just need like another cylinder. So grab out another cylinder and set that one to just be slightly wider. So for that one, I'd set the scale to like 0.07, so just a little bit bigger. And of course, for the height, I'd make that one pretty low, maybe like 0.2. No, it's too low, 0.5. That could be okay. Other thing you could do is instead of doing it with a base cylinder you drag out again, what I would do is maybe just copy and paste, duplicate the existing blade, and then set that one to be a little bit bigger. Because it's already skinny and close to the right size we want. For the material for our hilt, set it to something called Tech Panel. It comes in starter content. Looks perfect for a lightsaber hilt. This looks perfect. So you're going to want to then move this hilt down to the bottom of the blade, so it's right there where it can be in the center of the blade. If for some reason it's jumping, maybe this might answer your question. If it's kind of skipping and it won't like fit, what you can do is change the grid number. This says 10. Change it down to 5 or 1, so it's not jumping as much. Yeah.
Where do you get the starter content again?
Starter content?
Yeah, because the tech.
Okay, so you need starter content and add new. Very top feature of content tab. And then go to content packs, starter content. So I got this hilt looking thing. Hopefully you have something you're happy with. I'm going to get even a little bit more particular. I'm going to make another copy of this hilt, and I'm going to make it really, really, I'll have to set in the details panel. I'm going to make this the top scale, Z, really, really small. So set it to like 0.02. Yeah, so I get this ring kind of thing. And I'm going to set this width of it to 0.08, which is a little bit wider than the rest of the handle. And I'm going to set the material as something else. I've got something called, you've got something called hex tile. This would be perfect. And I make these little hand grips for it. And I'll just duplicate these now that I've done that. I can either do Command C, Command V, Control C, Control V. Or one of my favorite way to do it is to hold the Alt key and drag. Holding Alt and drag will make a copy just like that. And I make little hand grips so that I can hold my lightsaber better. That's fine. All I did was adding like accessories and stuff, so I was adding more shapes and things. You can. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna combine it into one-sided mesh, and if you want to take it apart and add it, you still have this option in the level to continue adding to it, making new sabers. So to save it now as a brand new 3D model that we can use in our game, give it to our character, put it in our levels, and even export it out of Unreal and put in other programs, we're going to do what's called merging actors. Or merge them all into one new model called a static mesh. So to do that, you want to click and highlight everything that you're merging. To do that, you're going to hold Shift and click on all the components that are making up the object you want to combine. So I hold Shift, I click on the hilt, the blade, all the accessories, and once they're all highlighted, I'm just going to put my mouse and hover over any one of them, right-click, and choose the option that says Merge Actors. Choose Merge Actors. All these settings you can leave as is. It's going to ask you what to name it. I'm going to name mine SM_lightsaber. SM means static mesh, which is just our name for a 3D model. Merge Actors, yep, and you should have a lightsaber. It's in your content browser. I could double click it, open it up, just like that. Now also go into your materials and feel free to duplicate that lightsaber material. Lightsaber 2, go in and then just change the color to something else. Change it to blue this time, or green, or red. Oh no. You might have been merging the sky, possibly. I've seen a lot of that where it's like, this is the world's largest object. What is it? Oh, when you're shift clicking everything, you actually click the sky in the background. You merged it all. I see that a lot. So you'll know because when you double click on it, it won't look right. But this looks right. So I just made a blue version. So if I bring out this blue version, I can now take the same lightsaber asset we just made and only change the material part of it. And now I got Luke's saber. So it's one model, but I both have a red and a blue. And then, of course, you can do things like open up your third-person character and attach the lightsaber, although I don't recommend holding it by the area that he's holding it with. What you would do to add a lightsaber, go to your third-person character, blueprint, edit blueprint, open blueprint editor. So click your third-person character, edit blueprint, open blueprint editor. Yep. And the left, where it says add component, this is how we add new things to something. Click add component, and add the thing called static mesh. Add component, top left, green button. And then add static mesh. Okay, in the details panel on the right of the static mesh, you get to set what static mesh it is, what model you're using. So where's the static mesh? None. I'm going to click none and look for my lightsaber. Yes, there. So that one just searches for components. Just add and we'll scroll through that. Nice, you got a double lid. Cool. So you're gonna hold shift and click all the things. I think left shift, maybe right shift works. Cool. And then I think that's it, right? Right there. Or backwards. Or backwards. And then name it SM_lightsaber. Save it. All right, once you've added it to your third-person character, you can move this over to the guy's hand. Now, what we want to do is we want to do what's called socketing, so that wherever he goes, it'll follow his animations. So drag the thing that says static mesh, drag it on top of the mesh in the components window on the left. So make sure you drag static mesh on top of the thing that says mesh. That makes it a child of mesh, which means it has access to any of the things that mesh has. And since mesh, skeletal mesh, is a skeleton, it means our lightsaber can access any of the skeleton's bones. In this case, the hand bones. We can attach it to the hand bones. So click on the lightsaber mesh, and in the details panel, look where it says sockets, parent socket. Click the magnifying glass icon next to parent socket, and you get a list of all the bones you can attach this thing to. You want to attach it to one of his hands, left hand or right hand. Because we want to have this on the mesh. It has to be dragged on the mesh. So it's a child of the mesh. So what do I do? Add static mesh. Static mesh. What do I do? Perfect. Drag that onto the mesh. What else can we make parent socket there? You can drag it onto the mesh. Wait, drag that on top of the word mesh. Now it has access to all. Realize there was access to all. So click on that. The magnet, or the, yeah. And now find a hand you want, left hand or right hand. It's called like right hand R, hand L or something. And once you find a hand, I'm going to attach it to his right hand. Okay, you're going to see the lightsaber now animates with him. It's not in the right spot yet. It's okay, we'll move it. But wherever his animation goes, our lightsaber is sure to follow, which is pretty darn neat. So what we want to do is move this. It can be really tricky moving this while it's like moving around. So what I recommend doing is clicking on the guy's mesh and the details panel, typing in the word pause, check marking pause. That'll stop him from moving around. And then you can move this lightsaber to his hands exactly how you want. So move it. Yep. So then move this so the hilt is right where the hand should be, and it will stay there. Make sure you are moving it to the right hand though. So if you chose left hand, move it to the left hand. If you chose the right hand, move it to the right hand. Otherwise, it will look weird. I'm going to shrink my saber a little bit so it looks a little better. And once you've got it where it looks like, yes, it's right there in the hand, believably so, just make sure you click back on that mesh and unpause it. And he should be holding a lightsaber. Now, what's great is if you play, no matter what that guy does in terms of his animations, the lightsaber is going to stay in his hand. So if I run around, if I jump, right, it's always going to have this lightsaber. what's nice about that too is if you get some sort of like sword slinging animation asset, right, from Mixamo or something, he slings his sword forward. You don't have to consider animating the sword separately, okay? It will work with your guy because the sword, when you socket something, is now following that bone. It follows where that animation is set to go. So look, we did Star Wars. We still got 10 minutes to spare. This droid, by the way, that's following me around, I made him in Unreal for like, it took me 2 seconds. What'd you say, the Death Star Roomba is what it is? Oh, I think it fell in the water. Let me try to think it. That I made in Unreal. It's literally just a cylinder, and like there it goes. It's a cylinder and 2 squares that I stretched out, right, to make them rectangles. And then that's just tech panel, which is in starter content. And then I did another. I copied tech panel, and then I tinted one by multiplying the texture by a color, by a dark color. So then it looks like that. So literally 3 shapes, and you got basically, you know, a decent looking Star Wars prop. So with more shapes and more time, you can make something really, really cool, very detailed. And there I go. So anyway, guys, with that, let's call